Good afternoon, everybody. This is Rick Mertell here with Synergy Financial Partners and the Veterans Entrepreneur Training System. This is our 9th episode today. We'll be talking about the program itself, our company culture, and leadership. I'm honored today to introduce a special guest on the show. We've worked together for most of the last 25 years. He's the CEO and founder of Synergy Financial Partners, and more importantly, he's my mentor, my friend, and my brother from another mother, and the creator of the Veterans Entrepreneur Training System. Jeff Huggins is his name. He's the CEO and founder, as I said. Hey, Jeff, how are you doing today?
Doing great. Thank you for the opportunity to visit with everyone.
I appreciate it. I know you're on the go, so I appreciate you taking time out of your day. So, Jeff, I know one of the things that you'd like to address today is a big part of the culture of our company is the Leaders Creed. And but before we go into the Leaders Creed, I'd like to show a little short video. Scott, if you could pull that video up, please.
Consider it pulled.
Awesome. I chose that video to show to everybody today because we actually had that video made in 2014, and here we are today with the 2020 coronavirus issue, which has made a lot of us shift the way we do things to online. To being able to do things virtually, and it's just one of the things with the Leaders Creed that Jeff will talk about here in just a second. Is that people will change direction to follow the strongest leader, and that's one of the awesome things about our company is we build leaders. That's what we do, and this video is just kind of a testimony of the fact that a lot of times we try with the vision of our company, we try to be ahead of the curve. So we're able to already have things in place when we got into this situation, that we could still see people, still help people, even though we couldn't necessarily come to their houses and be with them, be next to them. So it's pretty awesome that we can do things like that. I mean, there's a famous quote. Everybody's probably heard of Wayne Gretzky, and one of his most famous quotes was that his success is due to his anticipation instead of just going to the puck, he would go to where the puck was going. So we anticipate things, and we've been able to be ahead of the curve with a lot of things in the ways that we help people. So, Jeff, I'd like you to kind of take over now, if you would, and just talk a little bit about the Leaders Creed and the Veteran Entrepreneur training system, if you would, please. Thank you.
You bet, absolutely. And you know, Rick, I'd like to maybe just take a couple of minutes and share my story because, you know, one thing in common that every one of us on this call, Scott and I were talking. I was in the Air Force, was in an Air National Guard unit out of Nashville, Tennessee. We were medevacs on C-130s. Ironically, my sister and I were in the same unit at the same time, which was kind of different and unique, if you will. But I never thought I would be doing what I do right now. And probably a lot of people on the podcast today, maybe they're too young to remember what a phone booth even was. But if you ever heard the expression, you know, that guy was so shy he couldn't lead silent prayer in a phone booth. You know, that was me at one point. And nearly, I would imagine 99.9% of the people on this podcast today, one of the things that we have in common is that there's a point A in your life, which is where you are right now. And there's a point B that you want to get to for your family, whatever that is. Okay? And money is probably a part of it. Even if you just want to get to a point to where you could go fishing or hunting every day or golfing every day, you know, it takes money to do that. But I know there's probably a lot of people that are on the call, you know, they're listening to this and maybe going, man, I could never do anything like that. That seems like sales, or I could never be an entrepreneur. I've never been an entrepreneur. I've never owned my own business. And that's a blessing in disguise. That means that you know enough to know that maybe you've got to learn things and we're willing to teach it to you. But, you know, I'm 57 years old, and which I can't even say that. I got a daughter getting married next month, and which blows my mind. But I grew up on a farm in Tennessee, about an hour west of Nashville. For those of you that are old enough, you might remember a TV show years ago called Hee Haw. And there was a lady on that show named Minnie Pearl. She had a price tag on her hat. I grew up in the same town that she did, tiny little town. Less people live there today than when I was a boy. And as a matter of fact, when I was in high school, someone shot out our one and only stoplight. And they took it down, and we didn't have another one for 20 years. So if somebody could come from those humble, sheltered beginnings to do what we do now, then as you know, Rick, the 9 magic words in our company, if Jeff can do it, anyone can do it. But I love sports. I've always loved sports. We've got sons that play college football right now, and I just love being a part of a team. And that's one of the reasons that the Veteran Entrepreneur Training Program that we started is that, you know, you go from being in the military to where you've got this infrastructure all around you, you know, a support system, to where when you're out of it, you know, for all intents and purposes, that goes out the window. Now you go from being a part of a pack to being the lone wolf, you know, and we've all heard the expression, the strength of the pack is the strength of the wolf is in the pack. Well, you know, same thing for, we've got sons that play sports, and when they're out of college and go out into the quote real world, you know, they don't have that infrastructure anymore. So when we started the V.E.T.S program and the Leader's Creed, which you can see up on the screen right there, it's all framed around really 4 key objectives: help people, have fun, make money, and lead by example. You know, I was talking with one of my a friend of mine this morning. I was meeting with a client, and I said, you know, that wealth is a byproduct of creating value. Like if you looked at what Scott's doing here, he's creating significant value and in the service that he's offering. You know, but wealth is a byproduct of creating value and solving problems, and that's what we do. You know, our whole Leader's Creed is built around help people, have fun, make money, and lead by example. And when we started the Leader's Creed, I was in someone's home several years ago, and he had been in the Army. He was an Army Ranger, and he had this big stump of wood with a creed carved in it. And I thought, wow, that's awesome. We need to come up with our version of that in our company. You know, because we're not just in the financial industry. We teach financial literacy. We teach and educate families about how money works. And unfortunately, I can't speak for most of you, but heck, I didn't learn anything about money when I was in school. I was a sophomore at Austin Peay State University in Clarksville, Tennessee, and I got a pre-approved letter in the mail for a Citibank Visa. Said, due to you being such a responsible adult, which makes me roll my eyes right now, you've been pre-approved for a Citibank Visa. I went it and immediately I got it, and immediately upon getting it, I went and maxed it out. I knew nothing about money. And when you hear the expression, ignorance is bliss, or what you don't know can't hurt you is totally ridiculous. What you don't know could totally screw up your life. Hey, whether that, regardless of what that is, but not knowing how money works, ignorance is not blissful; it's painful. And I learned from firsthand experience. So with the Leaders Creed, we basically took the word leaders and framed the culture and the spirit of our company around that, as far as legacy, execution, attitude, discipline, enthusiasm, respect, and sacrifice. And we did that because I thought, when I was in the military, I learned to grow and accept responsibility, and I realized that until you're responsible for someone other than yourself, you never really grow up, and you never really start to reach your potential. If all you ever have to worry about is yourself, you get disillusioned and think the whole world revolves around you, and then you realize that when you're responsible for other people, it doesn't at all. And what I learned when I was in the Air Force is I learned, when I was a dorm chief, if you will. I remember that back through basic training. I was responsible for other people's screw ups. So when someone else messed up, I was the first one that's accountable for it. And it really made me grow up once I stopped whining about it. And I look at the skills and qualities that people develop in the military, and I thought, what if there was a place that they could take that? Rather than feeling like a duck out of water, they could take that discipline, that structure, that accountability, that camaraderie, really feeling that what you do matters, not just a paycheck. Sure, everybody needs to make an income to pay their bills, but beyond that, something you really, you're excited about it. Unfortunately, most people, like today's Friday? If you ask most people how they're doing, they'll say it's Friday. Like, you inherently should know that they're doing awesome. It's Friday. Or on Monday, you ask them how you're doing, and they go, it's Monday. Well, if you really have a lot of passion for what you do, your Friday and your Mondays, they ain't a whole lot different. So that's how we built the Leaders Creed, and that's why we're looking to attract so many people that have a military background, because you have a skill set and training, and you've seen the benefit of a formatted system, okay, that most people that have not been in the military have no idea. So, what led us to even be in this industry is that I went to college to play sports, didn't know what I wanted to do when I finished college. Was very much an introvert that I'd said, painfully shy. And my mom and I sat down, sent out 72 resumes back then in the early 80s. You couldn't email your resume to people. I didn't get a single reply. By default, I thought I'd go sell insurance. And they gave a personality profile test, which I proceeded to fail. I went to another agency in Clarksville. So some of you probably have ties to the 101st Airborne at Fort Campbell. I'm very familiar with it. So I went to another agency. They gave the same test. I thought I would try to trick it and answer the questions. It was a personality profile test. That one came back not suitable. And then finally, I found a gentleman in Nashville that hired me. It was with a company called The Equitable. And I quit the first day. I hated it. So my dad said, Jeff, find something you enjoy doing. And I really enjoyed health and fitness. So we developed a chain of fitness centers in the Midwest, a chain of Gold's Gyms many of you have heard of, and also a chain of ladies only fitness centers, which led us to living in St. Louis. And Rick Mertell and I, that's how we met a quarter of a century ago when we sold our business. Ironically, I was led back to the financial industry, but a totally different approach than what we did then. Now it's more education based. So most of the people that work with us, they're probably more introverts than extroverts. And there's probably more people that consider themselves not a salesperson than those that do. And there's probably more people that have no experience whatsoever. They know nothing about this as far as what we do, but they do want to help people. And they do want to enjoy what they're doing. And of course, they want to make money, and they like not being limited. Either way, you're going to pay the price. You're either going to work 9 to 5 somewhere for the rest of your life, okay, or you can put in a lot of effort now and have freedom later. I know, like this fall, for those of you that might be sports fans, I'm a huge college football fan, and our sons play football at Kansas State in Manhattan, Kansas, close to Fort Riley. Some of you are probably familiar with Fort Riley. And, I'm going to move up there and work this fall. So, as we say, if you're willing to do now what other people are not, then you can live a life later that virtually no one else can. because you were willing to pay that price up front. And that's why, once again, we like to work with people that are veterans and have a military background because they paid a price and developed skills and discipline and structure. So I was led back to this business. That was in 1996. We've been blessed, and a lot of great things have happened. We've helped tens of thousands of families. And several years ago, we started Synergy Financial Partners. And we chose that name Synergy for a reason. Synergy basically means like 1 + 1 is 11, not 2. Because I know I have plenty of shortcomings, things that I'm not that good at, and I need a lot of help. And if you try to do all this by yourself and be successful by yourself, excuse me, even if you achieve success, it's a lonely path. And that's a lot of heavy lifting. Like Rick Mertell's great at lots of things that I'm not. And, Don Rice, our agency president, he's got a military background. He's very good at technology, and I'm not, for sure. And he's very detail oriented. I'm not. Wouldn't it be great if you could be a part of something that could kind of make up for your shortcomings, where you really did have synergy and you had chemistry, and you didn't feel it was just you trying to push a boulder up a mountain by yourself and you couldn't even really catch your breath. So we've really framed the Leaders Creed around that to create a spirit and a culture where you can really build something for your family. If you're willing to put the time and effort in and you execute, you've got a great attitude, you've got discipline, and you're enthusiastic, and you'll have the respect of others and your family, which is a great feeling. But you got to make those sacrifices to step outside your comfort zone. I mean, all of you probably heard that success begins at the end of your comfort zone, but most of us spend our whole life, trying to not step outside our comfort zone, going, well, I've never done that. I've never been an entrepreneur. I've never had an insurance license, or I've never sold anything, or I've never been my own boss. That's a good thing. Every one of you on this call that had a military career at one point, you were not in the military. So you were willing to step outside your comfort zone and do something that you've never done. So you got to see and experience and do things that you had never done because you're willing to step outside of that. Think if you would have never done that. All of us would have stayed at home in our little towns, never left, never got married, never had a family, never bought a home. We'd still been living with our parents. So we've got to be willing to step outside our comfort zone. And that's, once again, why we love to work with people that have a military background, because, you faced adversity. You faced challenges, disappointment. I was never in battle. I'm sure there's several of you that were. I have so much respect for those that serve their country to that degree. And so what we do is a piece of cake compared to that, as far as going through a few growing pains. But Rick, hopefully that gives a little bit of an idea. Are there any questions you've got for me? I mean, you and I have known each other a long time. Anything in particular you want to ask me?
Yeah, I appreciate it, Jeff. Yeah, there's, that's a great overview of everything that, as far as the company culture. I mean, that's one of the things that I'm most proud of working with Synergy, is the Leaders Creed, because it's given me direction. I mean, I started from something completely, as Jeff spoke about, a lot of people thinking that they can't do this, and this is something that they've never done before. I mean, I was a printer in an envelope factory. It was not something I ever dreamt. It's not a business I ever dreamt I'd be in. I just something happened in life that led me in this direction, and I think I always had a servant's heart, and always wanted to do for other people, and I found a way that I can really affect people's lives, for short term and for long term, and just it's so exciting to be able to work with Jeff and Don and a lot of the other people that we have with our company, just to be able to help other people step out of their comfort zones and do something that's completely different from what they've done, and just a way that they can learn. I mean, education is the biggest thing that we do. It's people are going to make much better decisions in general if they have the education first. And so we always, Don has said numerous times on the podcast radio show here, is that we lead with education. I mean, it's the biggest thing, because I feel that when I meet with somebody, my biggest goal is for them to be in a better position than before they met me, whether it be financially or just knowing something that they didn't know. And one of my favorite things that I love to hear people say, and just I heard it again last night, is no one ever told me that. And it's just a great feeling because, you know, here people, I'm 60 years old now, and I by no means mean anything, but or know everything. I mean, I'm sorry, but it's crazy to meet people that I mean, for lack of a better way to put it, that know less than me, because I didn't think I knew very much. You know, I mean, I didn't go to college. I just graduated from high school, went to work. It was a very different thing. But that's pretty much everything that I can think of, Jeff. I mean, I don't know if you want to add anything else about how we get started. A little bit about maybe.
You bet. Just absolutely. You know, guys, we've got our top leaders in our company earn several $100,000 a year. And to most people, they think that just sounds too good to be true. There's no way. How do you do that? You know, that must not be legit. Well, don't even think about that. I mean, I grew up on a farm, and I have a lot of farm analogies. I tell people that, you know, if you put lipstick on a pig, it's still a pig. I mean, the reality of it is the people that do it in our company, they've been with us for several years. They work extremely hard. But we also have a lot of people that work with us. Say it's somebody that's a school teacher, you know, from St. Louis, Missouri, you know, and they've got a fixed income they're on. They got kids getting ready to go to college, and they're like, oh, my Lord, how are we going to pay for this without having to go in debt and have lots of loans and put ourselves in an even worse spot and a bigger hole financially? What if they come and work with us on a sideline basis? Keep doing what they're doing, and if we could help them earn an extra $1,500 or $2,000 a month, think about yourselves for a minute. Most families, if they had an extra $1,000 or $1,500, even $2,000 a month, it would be life-changing. I mean, you know, don't even think about some astronomical six-figure income. Just an extra $1,000 or $1,500 or $2,000 a month on a consistent basis. You know, what do they call that? Your side hustle? I guess, I mean, that's what the young people, that's the hip thing to say, I guess. But just doing that on a sideline basis, what would that do for you right now? Think right now in your budget, go down what you pay for your mortgage, your car payment, your utilities, whatever. At the bottom, if you could add an extra $1,500 or $2,000 to it, you know, investing 8 or 10 hours a week in something where you're teaching and educating families about how money works, and then it's the person that you grow and become in the process. You know, I want to tell you, in 25 years of doing this business, we've had thousands of people work with our company. A few of them did a lot of them did a little bit, and quite a few of them didn't do diddly squat. But if I really had to look at who has grown the most as a person from where they were at when they started to the person that they've become as a leader, a man, a woman, whatever the case may be, Rick Mertell would be at the top of the list. If he's not first, he's a really close second out of several thousand. I mean, as a matter of fact, Rick told me he went to a high school reunion a few years ago, and a couple people, after just talking with him briefly, they're like, you're not even the same person. You've changed dramatically. You know, because Rick in his younger days, he was a rough and tumble guy and somebody you definitely wouldn't want to mess with. I saw him give a nunchuck demonstration one time. I thought, man, I do not want to tick off Rick. I don't want him using those nunchucks on me. So to see the growth that he's gone through as a result of being an entrepreneur, being a part of a culture where we have like the leader's creed, he's not even the same person. He's been transformed. So, and the good thing about our business, you can do a little bit or you can do a lot. No pressure. There's no quotas. What we try to do is reverse engineer. You know, go to our website, synergyfinancial.com. Synergyfinancial.com. And watch some of the videos. Learn about what we do, because so much of what we do is about sharing. We do use a lot of videos in the promotion of our business, because people will, almost anyone will sit and watch a 4-minute video to learn about living benefits, tax-free retirement, safe money strategies, etc. So that sharing of those videos is really the door opener. But when someone comes on board our company, you go at your own pace. You have to have a life and health license. All that's just a simple formality. I mean, once again, remember those 9 magic words. If Jeff can do it, anyone can do it. And I'll tell you what, I want to give out my cell phone number. If any of you want to call me directly, you're welcome to give me a call. It's 404. My wife and I, we live here in Atlanta, Georgia. 404-642-1268. 404-642-1268. But I'll leave you with this. Life is a lot less painful if you can learn from someone else's mistakes and experiences. When you can find someone, I'm not a big NASCAR fan, but in NASCAR, when you have a car that's maybe in second, get behind the first place car and gets right up on his bumper, what do they call that? Drafting? So that first car is the one that's encountering all the resistance. Okay? So if you can do that in your life, if you want to learn how to have a better marriage, find somebody's got one. Get right behind them and draft off of them. Learn it from them until you can slingshot past them. If you're broke and you don't have 2 pennies to rub together, find someone that's successful financially and they're willing to take an interest in you. See, the hard part, is number 1, being in the right place at the right time. Number 2, recognizing that you're there. We found what we look for. There's always going to be thorns and roses. So number 2, recognize that you're there. And number 3, you got to pull the trigger. You got to do something about it. Pull the trigger. Successful people living here in Atlanta, the home of Home Depot. So wherever you're at right now, you're probably not too far from a Home Depot. The 2 of the founders of Home Depot, Bernard Marcus and Arthur Blank. Arthur Blank owns the Atlanta Falcons. But anyway, he said, I've studied successful people. They're very decisive. They see something, they study the facts, they make a decision, period. He said, and I studied unsuccessful people. They're very slow to make up their mind, but when they do, they're very quick to change it. So I thought, so copy a successful person. See something, study it, make a decision, be decisive, and stick with it. It wasn't that how it was when you're in the military, when they had a game plan. You follow the game, but you make a decision and you attack as opposed to just thinking about it, okay? So nothing happens until someone takes action. So my number is 404-642-1268, and, we're here to help you in any way that we can. Remember that point A in your life where you're at and the point B you want to get to. You got to find the vehicle to get you there, and thinking about it won't get you there. You've got to find the vehicle, and very well, this could be the vehicle for you if you really like to help people. If you want to have fun doing what you're doing, not be miserable, be an old stick in the mud. Okay? And if you want to make money, even if money's not your main motivator, hey, it definitely makes life a lot easier. And if you're willing to lead by example, okay, bottom line, I still work with clients, see clients after all these years. I met with one this morning. So you lead by example or get out of the way. But Rick, that's all I've gotten. Thank you very much for an opportunity to be on this. And Scott, thank you for all that you're doing, because each of us need all of us and all of us need each of us. And your efforts are much, much appreciated. You're doing a good thing. So thank you.
All right, Jeff, appreciate it, buddy. Thanks for coming on with us today. I believe we're done. Everybody have a great day, and please don't hesitate to contact Jeff or myself. And let's move forward. Sounds like a good plan. Have a great day.
Have a great weekend, everyone. Take care. Bye-bye.